Welcome to the Honest Dog Breeder Podcast with me, your host, Julie Swan, where each week we dive in to discuss all things dog breeding so you can build a breeding business you love, producing dogs that fulfill their owners' dreams. I believe you can have an honest dog breeding program that also pays the bills. So throw those pods in your ears while you're cleaning kennels. I'd love to join you. When I say raise your puppy price by $1,000, I know that can sound unrealistic. For some breeders, that first reaction is, that sounds nice, but not for me. Not my breed, not my buyers, not my area, not this economy. And I understand why your brain goes there. If what you hear is just add $1,000 to your price and hope people pay it, I would be skeptical too. That would feel awkward and unsupported. It would feel like putting a bigger number in front of the buyers without knowing how to explain why it makes sense. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about randomly raising your price just because you want more money, copying what another breeder charges, or slapping the word premium on your website and hoping buyers figure it out. I'm talking about something much more practical. Your current price may not be the highest price your program could support. It may simply be the highest price your current clarity, positioning, and buyer experience are supporting right now. A lot of breeders treat their current price like it is a fact, almost like the market has officially declared, this is what your puppies are worth. But that is usually not how the price was chosen. Most breeders set their price based on what felt safe at the time. They looked around at what other breeders were charging and thought about what the buyers in their area might tolerate, and picked a number that felt high enough to count, but not so high that they would feel they have to defend it too much. Then they got used to saying that number. After a while, it starts to feel like truth. But sometimes it is not truth. Sometimes it is just familiar. Because $1,000 more per puppy can feel like a big jump when you imagine simply tacking it onto your current price. If you are charging $2,500, saying $3,500 might feel like a lot. But that discomfort does not automatically mean the price is wrong. Sometimes it means the price is unsupported. A wrong price is a number that truly does not make sense for the program, the buyer, the market, or the value being delivered. But an unsupported price is different. It might be possible, but the breeder has not yet built the clarity, confidence, messaging, experience, and structure behind it. I think that is where many honest breeders are sitting. The breeding decisions, care in the puppy raising, intentionality in the matching, buyer support, health testing, follow-up, and the way the breeder thinks through placements. I know you're doing those things. But if the buyer cannot see that clearly, it cannot support the price. This is where so many breeders get stuck. They are doing good work, but the work is not visible enough to the buyer. It is not clearly explained on the website. It's not showing up in the photos. It's not coming through in the content. It is not built into the buyer experience in a way that helps the right family understand. It is not built into the buyer experience in a way that helps the right family understand, oh, this is different, this is better, this is the breeder I want. When that back onto the easiest thing to compare, price. That does not always mean the buyer is cheap. Sometimes price is the only thing you have made clear enough for them to compare. Breeders often get frustrated when buyers ask about price first, and I understand why. It can feel like they do not value the work, but sometimes they simply do not know what else to look at. They do not know how to tell the difference between your program and one down the road because you have not made that difference clear enough. The value is still too hidden. It is hidden inside your head, your daily process, and the decisions you make automatically because you have been doing this long enough that you forgot buyers do not know what goes into it. You know why you chose that pairing, raised a litter that way, ask the questions you do, match the puppies as you do, and support the buyers after the puppy goes home. But buyers do not automatically know these things. And if they do not understand the value, they cannot use that value to justify the price. That does not mean you need to do more and more to deserve a higher price. Sometimes there are real improvements that need to happen, of course. I'm not saying every breeder should just raise their price tomorrow without changing anything. But for many honest breeders, the biggest issue is not that they are doing too little. It is that they have not clearly positioned and explained what they are already doing. So instead of asking, am I allowed to charge more? I want you to ask a better question. what would need to be true for this higher price to make sense? Not in a manipulative way, not in the hypey way, not in a convince people to pay more for the same thing way, but in an honest way. Where does the value need to be clearer for the buyer? What part of the process needs more support? What are you already doing that feels obvious to you but may not be obvious to them yet? This is where the conversation becomes more practical. Now, let's talk about why this is important. Because $1,000 more per puppy is not just a bigger number. If you have 6 puppies in a litter, that is $6,000 more from that litter. If you have 4 litters in a year with 6 puppies each, that's $24,000 more in a year. About $2,000 more per month. $2,000 more per month can change a lot in a breeding program. I'm not saying the extra money magically fixes everything, but margin changes decisions. It gives you room to fix the things you keep putting off, to hire help before you are completely burned out, or make a better decision for a dog without feeling like the whole business is going to wobble because of it. That margin can help you build the better puppy space, upgrade your systems, pay for the emergency vet bill, invest in the website, get the photos done, or simply pay yourself something real so your family can feel the benefit of work instead of only feeling the inconvenience of it. This is why profit needs to be a part of the conversation. Profit isn't something you have to feel weird about. It doesn't cancel out your integrity. In real life, profit can protect the dogs, the buyer experience, the breeder's mental health, and the family's relationship with the breeding program. It gives you room to make decisions from intention instead of pressure. Breeding without margin eventually affects everything. It affects your patience, your options, your ability to keep showing up well, and the decisions you make when something goes wrong. This is why I do not want honest breeders staying underpriced just because they are afraid of being judged. I don't want you absorbing costs your business should be carrying or treating your time like it's free just because you love the puppies. And I don't want you building a program where the dogs, the buyers, and the families are supported while you, the breeder, is holding it all together and you're constantly stretched thin. That is not sustainable. Now, I'm not asking you to pretend every breeder can raise her price by $1,000 tomorrow. But I do want you to challenge the belief that your current price is proof of your maximum value. Sometimes your current price tells us less about what your puppies are worth and more about what you currently feel safe asking for. It may be the number that keeps you from feeling judged, keeps other breeders comfortable, or lets you avoid the fear of someone saying, "That's too much." And if that is true, the solution is not just to be braver. I don't want you over there white-knuckling your way through saying a bigger number. I do not want you raising your price and then feeling awkward, apologetic, or defensive every time someone asks you about it. The goal is to build the business behind the price, so the price feels supported. That is exactly why I created Elevated Breeder. Elevated Breeder is not about randomly choosing a higher number to slap on your puppy price. It's not about hype. It's not about becoming pushy or trying to talk people into something they do not want. It's about building the 4 pieces of your breeding business that allow a higher price to make sense. When those pieces are missing, the price has to stand alone, and that feels scary. It feels exposed. It feels like you are just hoping buyers understand. But when those 4 pieces are in place, the price is supported by the way you talk about your program, the buyer you are speaking to, the experience you create, and the value they can clearly see. That is when a higher price starts to feel less like a leap and more like the next obvious right step. And this is not just theory. Inside the Honest Dog Breeder Society, the average breeder is raising her puppy price by $500 to $1,000 within 6 months because she is building these pieces. She's not becoming a completely different person, abandoning integrity, or pretending every breeder or pretending every buyer is a fit. She is getting clearer about her program, positioning it more intentionally, understanding who it is really for, and making the value easier for the right buyer to see. That is the work. Before you come into the workshop, I want you to consider this. Your current price may not be the ceiling. It may be that your buyers are not rejecting the value of your program at all. They may simply not be seeing it clearly enough yet. And if that's true, $1,000 more per puppy may not be as far away as you thought. Once you believe it might be possible, then we can build. We can look at what needs to be clear, what is missing, what your buyers need to understand before they feel confident choosing you, and how to make the value in your program more visible. But first, you have to stop assuming the higher price belongs to everyone else except you. I'm not saying this because I want you to be reckless, ignore your market, or become arrogant and disconnected from the responsibility of breeding. I'm saying this because I want honest breeders to stop disqualifying themselves from building a profitable, sustainable program simply because of how others might look at them. If your current price is not supporting the time, risk, care, responsibility, and buyer support behind your program, then this is something worth looking at. If $1,000 more per puppy has felt impossible, but part of you is wondering whether it is actually just unsupported, this is the work we are going to do inside Elevated Breeder. We are going to build the 4 pieces behind the price, make the value clear, and help the higher price feel supported in a way that still feels honest, grounded, and aligned with the kind of breeder you want to be. Because honest breeding should not require you to carry the full financial strain of doing things well. It should help you make that possible. And $1,000 more per puppy may not be as far away as you think. You can sign up for the Elevated Breeder live workshop at honestdogbreeder.com/elevated breeder. I can't wait to see you on the inside. If you found this episode helpful, please tap that like button. It helps me better understand you and supports the channel. If you're a current or aspiring dog breeder, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel to be notified when new videos come out. Thanks.